How's it going, everybody? My name is Drop, and welcome back to the futures analysis for, let's go ahead and check the date, June 15th, 2021. It's currently midnight, a little bit past, about 30 minutes past midnight, 33 minutes to be exact, past midnight. We're taking a look at the ES S&P 500 E-mini futures. So we saw something really important happen today. We broke into all-time highs again. We just do that now. So we broke past this nice chop zone, and we went parabolic on ES, which I wasn't expecting. I was expecting more of a slow climb, but we did need to stay above this really crucial 4223.25 range for us to go any higher. And my God, did we do that? So what I'm expecting to happen is either we continue up strongly like we have in the past. I'll show you what I mean in just a minute. But we continue up strongly as soon as we hit all-time highs, or we'll sort of bottom out and sort of, we'll top out and sort of come down for a little bit and then trade within a range before we then continue higher. So if I come back here in the past slightly, let's go ahead and take a look at a second all-time high instance. So you can see the all-time highs were right here at about 42.11, and we broke that, and in the early morning hours, we just absolutely spiked and kept going before we tanked. Don't mind any of this. This doesn't matter. I mean, it does, but not in the case that I'm, explaining. That was a head and shoulders pattern, so, But we have a nice double bottom here that really goes with this. You can see kind of here. It's not perfect, but it is a nice W. So hopefully we get the kind where we continue rising, but if not, stabilizing and coming down would also be fine. We've also got a fairly large uptrend that we can see. It's very clearly defined here. This is the upper boundary. For most of the time, we've had a couple of false breakouts, but we instantly crash back down. So this is the first time. I'll delete these lines here. This is really big because we've broken above this area with low volume, so all of the market depends in the morning. We're going to see what happens in the morning with this. It's the only way we can decide this. You can see volume's been decreasing as we head towards midnight. It's only going to get worse until the traders start to wake up around 3, 4 a.m. You can see that we always, if you look at the volume bar down here, we always come down and then start to come back up. So since we've just come up like this and we've broken above this trend line, I personally find it the safest to look for support bounce at 42.48.5, and then we continue up following that trend line. Not following the trend line, but breaking the trend line on a upwards trend. A lot of the times, whenever you have uptrends like this and you're hitting the upper boundary, whenever you have an actual break of the trend line, so for example, let's say we have a pennant. Let me just draw a quick pennant here. Stock Market 101 with Mr. Drop. So whenever we have a pennant and the stock price is jumping around inside this pennant, since there's no overall direction yet, once we break, it's likely to go, aggressively up, or it's likely to go aggressively down. But whenever we're hitting an upper boundary like this, for so long the momentum has been up that for us to break and for us to do this, it's a lot steeper of an angle. It requires a lot more volume, and it requires a lot less people to be giving negative pressure here. And after a big spike like this, it's unnatural for us to continue with more large spikes, especially given the resistance zones that we've already drawn out, like this trend line and like this new support that's been formed. So I'm expecting a small pullback to potentially support. If not, we could see another smaller uptrend, but I don't expect it to be, permanent all-time highs. We'll probably see a decent dip coming soon. Anyways, that's enough time spent there. Let's go ahead and take a look at the NASDAQ futures. So, Jesus Christ. Alright, we went absolutely parabolic today, my lord. So, I drew something here. This was the 14th at 1 a.m. Today's the 15th. So, I did my futures analysis at 2 a.m. I started to draw this uptrend pattern, and I kind of suspected we would top out of resistance here. That is not what happened. We fully broke out of this, and we are smooth sailing onto new highs. That's actually all-time highs for the NQ, so very impressive day. Text blasting off. We're going to be wanting to some short-term support here, a little bit of support right here. It's unlikely that we stay perfectly above these as we just broke into this territory. If we take a look at the other all-time high breaks, you see that we look strong on the surface. Like, we'll break up and then we'll come down for a healthy dip, come up again, and then we trade flat for a minute, and then we make new all-time highs and we start trading flat again. but ultimately, ultimately we will come down. So what I'm suspecting here is we did just get out of this massive cup and handle, or this massive cup, and so what's entirely possible is for us to find resistance somewhere up here and come down for a while, form a handle pattern on this cup. If I scroll out, you can see that we could form a handle pattern on this cup, and then from there we could see a new high. I'm going to quickly, because it's an eyesore, just delete like most of this, because this is a little bit absurd. It's an eyesore, it's hard to read, and there's no point for most of these to be here, but it was good for the daily futures, but not now. So yeah, we're just gonna Alright, so if we get this handle pattern, it's likely that we'll break and continue up given the bullish market pressure, but that's going to be towards the end of the week. So for now, we'll just be watching for a nice pullback before we get into any long-term trades, but we're looking really strong on tech here, and I wouldn't be surprised if in the following months of July and August we see some more strong tech pushes. At least to some smaller highs, but overall more bullish pattern, it looks to me. So the Dow future surprised me today. It looked like we were going to get some bullish action, but one thing that I did forget to point out in that video is that while our upper boundary was sort of flattening out and bottoming out, our bottom was keeping a steady trend downward. So we've sort of created a weird channel for us that if I dropped vertically, it would, or horizontally perfectly, it would look like this. So the problem with this, right, is we are there's not really a problem with this, but we have our lower boundary down here, we have our upper boundary up here. We came down to touch this lower boundary, and I didn't highlight that, unfortunately. So this is completely healthy and it follows the pattern that we've seen. But I had only taken into account this top part here with the curl and not the bottom part. I was hoping that we would see a bullish reversal, and we did towards the middle of the day, but we unfortunately didn't see it in the early market hours, which is really unfortunate, especially considering the other indices. But that's just short-term market fluctuations. So in the near future, we are trying to break past this previous low of 34,308 right here. Once we break past that previous low, we've got a decent chance at rising higher, but until then, it's looking pretty grim. I say grim, but you know what I mean. We're going to move that up. So that's going to be about it for this futures analysis. Let me know if you had any questions. Let me know if you enjoyed, and I will see you fellas later.